That's okay, though. You beat the other two guys, so be comforted. Mr. Administrator, at this time, we will look at our consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have one consent item pulled. That's item number 11 by Commissioner Dozier. I see that Commissioner Dozier is not here, and I'm sure she'll correct me when she gets here, but she told me she would just like this item. There she is. Continued perhaps to the next meeting. Commissioner Dozier, I was just informing the commission that you had requested that consent item 11 be pulled.
Mr. Chair, if I can, move consent, but can we go ahead and move consent with continuing item number 11 and allow Commissioner Dozier to comment? Is that okay? So my motion would be to move consent and continue item number 11.
Yes, and forgive me a moment there and finding my new seat. Welcome, Rick. Commissioner Minor, I should say. I have no problem with this item. I'm very appreciative of the report, but as you all know, and I believe Commissioner Deloge, you or Mr. Vice Chair, you went to the Builders Association meeting this week. So a lot of us have heard from them. They've been very interested in this report. And I just felt like for today, for reorg, it wasn't the time to really dig into a conversation. So I think pushing it to December, we may have some people who want to speak to it. It may be fine on consent, but I thought that was appropriate instead of discussing it today.
Go ahead. On point.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair. Commissioner Dozier, you want December, or should we dig deeper into like January? Because our last meeting before break is December. I don't know what the agenda is going to look like, Mr. Administrator, but it'll be the day after the retreat, and I didn't know if, that level of detail we can give to,
That, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, that wouldn't be a problem. We'd be very happy to do it, and we can accommodate it in December. So,
Mr. Chair, if I can, I'd like just to amend my motion to say move consent with item 11 being continued until our December meeting.
That's fine. Commissioner Deloge. All right, item's been moved to placed on the December agenda meeting for further discussion. It's been seconded. All in favor of the item, or in favor of that, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Any other items on the consent agenda to be pulled, or?
Mr. Chairman, we do not. However, we do have one speaker card in for citizens to be heard on non-agenda items. Mr. Mickey Britt.
All right, Mr. Britt, welcome. As your reminder, there will not be any discussion by the commissioners, and that you'll be given 3 minutes to speak. Mr. Britt has already requested additional time before we started today. We will be patient, Mr. Britt, but we'll give you a little bit over the 3 minutes to be heard. If you could at this time provide your name and address for the record.
I certainly appreciate that. My name is Mickey Britt. I reside at 4407 Millwood Lane, Tallahassee, Florida. And I'm here to speak and to think that I would come here in front of y'all and the TV audience and everything and tell you how to save the United States government, save Social Security, save welfare, pay down the national debt, and not raise nobody's taxes 1 penny. And here's how it goes. The Constitution protects us. And long before the Constitution was ever drawn, there was drugs. And the Constitution says that they can't pass laws unless it's been enumerated on things that was done in the past. So our drug laws are unconstitutional. Then we have dictatorship on top of it, because whenever the elected, the powerful, impose laws putting people in prison that haven't harmed anybody, nobody. You stop them, they got drug paraphernalia. Holy moly, what are you going to do? Hit them on the head with a pipe or something? But you're going to put them in prison. You're going to put them in prison before they've done anything to anybody. The government has never had that power. Our forefathers were brilliant people, and they thought to keep us protected and make sure that we have limited government. And they so described how the government should act. And the government has powers of general welfare. Ain't got a thing to do with the laws of the land. It has to do with keeping the security of the country, the coining of money and debt, and they've done a terrible job. Oh my God. We're up to the debt, not to our rear, but up to here, our neck. They've done a poor job. Biggest threat to this country is the national debt. And if we don't pay it, and they call it, we're going to have poor people all out in the street, elderly out in the street, and they will kill you for a loaf of bread. So here's how we do this. We pardon. I didn't say free, I said pardon. Everybody that's in prison that hadn't harmed anybody in society. We release them. We no longer have all that money that we're spending, which is trillions, by the way, on incarcerating people, and their families has gone on welfare, and we have the need for people to go to work. So they now get a job, and they're now a taxpayer. So we're taking all of that money that we're saving from incarcerating them, getting them off of welfare, tax paying them. We then take the drug agent and reduce it down to a skeleton crew because we don't need them. We're going to legalize every drug known to man and tax it. And the only people that are going to be paying the taxes are none other than those that are already using the drugs. And they'll get to go to Walgreens and get good, clean drugs at a cheaper price. And they pay the taxes. And we take the tax dollars and the savings from the welfare and saving from the incarceration. Social Security saved. Welfare saved. Pay down the national debt. You see, the government has the right to do three things under the law. They have the right to put us in prison if we harm somebody in society. They have the right to put us in prison if we try to overthrow the government. They have the right to put us in prison if we commit treason. They don't have any right to dictate to us what to possess or whatever. I don't care if you go home, get high as a Georgia pine, drunk as a skunk or whatever. That's your business. You have every right to do so. In a free country, they don't show it here. In a free country, we have more people in prison than any country in the world. 25% of the world's population that's in prison is right here in the United States.
Mr. Britt, I'll give you about 30 seconds to bring it in for a landing.
Well, if you had a better idea than what I just presented, please tell me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Britt. We appreciate your time. Moving on to our agenda, item number 12 under general, any other citizens to be heard?
We have no additional speaker cards, Mr. Chairman.
All right, item number 12. Mr.
Item
Administrator.
number 12, Commissioner, Mr. Chairman, is a license agreement amendment with Environmental Systems Research Institute, or ESRI, for our geographical information system software. This, again, is our GIS software, and as such is budgeted for this purpose. We have no speaker items on this issue. It's just one that's here because of the cost of the contract.
Move staff's recommendation.
All right, move staff recommendation by Commissioner Loge, seconded by Commissioner Dozier. Any other discussion at this time? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by the same sign? Passes unanimously. Mr. Administrator, item number 13.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner, this item similarly seeks budget authority and is a continuation based on previous action taken by this board. Most recently, at your February commission meeting, to pursue this sewer project. This is for the cost of engineering services associated with that project. Funding is included in the existing budget for this, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have. We have no speakers on this item.
Mr. Chairman, I move the item.
Commissioner Proctor. Commissioner Proctor moves past the item, seconded by Commissioner Deloge. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. General business for item number 14. Mr. Administrator.
And finally, Commissioners, we got to the last item on the County Commission agenda tonight. Item number 14 is a full board appointments item. We're seeking full board appointments to the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, COCA, as well as the Planning Commission. All eligible applicants for each are presented herein for your consideration. Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Maddox.
Mr. Chair, I have a slate. I don't know if everybody else want to chime in, but I had one for each one. Make a motion for Daniel Taylor for the COCA appointment. I'd like to make a motion for Kyle Frost for our Affordable Housing Committee. And I'd like to make a motion for Jamie Coleman for our Planning Commission. And with the comment that I think that when I was looking at the agenda, I saw where I think the city of Tallahassee keeps a track of the diversity of their appointments to the Planning Commission. I actually think that's a pretty good idea to make sure we have a good and diverse Planning Commission. I think Jamie's going to do an amazing job. She has a background in real estate law, and specifically with Commissioner Williams Cox becoming a city commissioner. She'll come in and provide the diversity from a African American female standpoint on that board. But if we could, at least on the boards that we have joint with the city, start looking at the same and the diversity that we have on those boards, whether it be male, female, at least from our appointments, male, female, and also district as well as race. That'd be my motion, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, if I might follow.
Yes, Commissioner Proctor.
That's a good point that that large commissioner brings up. And for years now, I've attempted to suggest that we have diversity in our boards and appointment. It sounds good coming from that large commissioner, and I strongly support his position that we would have gender and racial as well as geographic diversity from our community on our boards. And too frequently, when you look at the geographic dense makeup, it comes from one region of the community. So I endorse what Commissioner Maddox is saying, and I would just add one other ingredient, and that we would also consider geographic diversity along with the other components he's mentioned. Thank you.
All right. So the motion's been made to nominate the three individuals. What's that?
To speak.
The names?
Oh, no, I see you got Coleman over here.
Oh, I do. Sorry. Kristen, I'm sorry. Commissioner Dozier.
That's quite all right, Mr. Chair. It's a quick turnaround moving from vice chair to chairman.
It was a lot easier than
Actually,
that.
I can say almost all of us have been there and have experienced that moment, right? Especially when your mind's spinning after reorg, so.
Thank you.
Congratulations again. No, just wanted a quick question. I appreciate the slate. We have a lot of good names for housing and planning, so this was a little challenging. I like the slate you presented. I can get behind it. I did want to say Deborah Lloyd is very interesting to me from Good News Outreach on the housing, but I don't know if there will be more conflict of interest with her. But I really am glad that she applied for that position and has worked really hard with her organization. So I like the appointments that you've made, and I'm very glad you've suggested Kyle Frost, who's with us today, for one of those positions. So I think that is good. I just wanted to come back for a question on the disclosures, because the conflicts issue has been there in the past. When I looked at this, Jamie Coleman, it looked like it was just conflict because she does legal services for the clerk. So it's not a major conflict as we've seen with maybe others who are in the industry. Is that correct, Mr. County Administrator? Is that kind of the assessment? There wouldn't be a very big conflict or a notable conflict, but we're glad she needed to disclose it anyhow. Is that correct?
I think that's fair to say.
Okay. And the same for Kyle Frost with the healthcare. It really is not going to come in, likely not going to come into a conflict with affordable housing, but he had to disclose it anyhow. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify those 2 points, because sometimes conflicts can imply there's more challenges than there actually is. The only other question I had was, I think there was another appointment for the Housing Advisory Committee, option 1A. And we may want to add, if we're okay with this motion, we may need to add that into the motion, and I think that may cover all of the appointments. Is that right?
Yes, you are correct, Commissioner Dozier. I will go ahead and add in, I think, Waldick as the Planning Commission appointee to the Affordable Housing Committee. I will add that to my motion. Thank you, Commissioner Dozier.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Lindley.
Actually, that was my concern about the other one, too. I was just glad to see so many nominations for these committees, because a lot of times we have so many advisory committees and we don't have applicants. And I know in my office we've been trying to reach out to people. There's a new opening on the Canopy Roads Committee, for example, coming up right away. And some of these are very important. The Planning Commission particularly is often the last stop for a lot of development before, and it maybe doesn't ever come to us, in fact. So I was just glad to see this, and I hope that that all of us are reminded to try to reach out to people that we think would be good appointments, so we do have some good choices, which I think we do here. And I appreciate, too, I think we do need diversity. And as one of the at-large commissioners, I'm willing to go along with you all trying to get your districts, represented. Okay, all right, thanks so much.
This is actually one of the first hard decisions I've had to make, because as Commissioner Lindley had mentioned, there are a lot of highly qualified candidates here. I do happen to know all three that were mentioned in the slate from Commissioner Maddox, and I think they're all terrific. They bring a lot to the table. There are also some other great candidates too, but I'm very happy with this slate. And as Commissioner Lindley said, I think there are a lot of very qualified candidates on Planning Commission and Affordable Housing too. It's really impressive.
You're still in queue.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Maddox mentioned Waldick for the planning, and Commissioner mentioned 1A panel. I don't see Waldick on the Planning Commission on the table 3. What y'all looking at?
Planning Commissioner Waldick was the Planning Commission's appointee to the Affordable Housing Board. So he's already on the Planning Commission. They recommended him to be a part of the Affordable Housing Board as an appointee from the Planning Commission. I believe that Commissioner Williams-Cox covered that position prior to the nomination of Mr. Waldick.
Right. I know we're trying to get new blood and young blood and all like that, but it's very sometimes an inconvenient truth to discuss people. But I think that when you look at Ms. Lloyd's credentials, her age, her seasoned background, to me, her background is more compelling than the person that is on the slate. And one of the things about the slate motion is that it almost locks all of us out, once a second has been made, because it seems as if we are, maybe attacking the person who's nominated. It's hard to distinguish that we're not talking against anyone. But in the slate process, it's almost hard to objectively make comment without it not sounding like you're against something. But I think that in this instance, we should keep Ms. Deborah Lloyd's name. And you look at these two candidates, Commissioner Maddox, there is no comparison in their experience, their age, what they bring, just no comparison to me. Though they're both very good, but both qualitatively and quantitatively, the experience and voice that Ms. Lloyd would offer this board is a lot more, from what I'm able to discern, would be a lot more weightier. But, I'm going to ride it out with the group. And I want Commissioner Minor to know that sometimes, Commissioner, you just ride it out and, just ride it out and go with, the ride on. So that's where I'm at tonight. I'm finding out.
Commissioner Lindley and then Commissioner Deloge. Okay, Commissioner Deloge.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the slate that Nick has put forward, Commissioner Maddox has put forward is fair, gets a little bit of everything, and frankly, I want to compliment Kyle Frost for not only running for public office, which we need more people willing to do, but, you know, showing up and acting interested and getting engaged. And he called me a couple months ago and said, hey, I want to participate. What do I do? And so I think there's a counter argument, which is we need to figure out a way to engage that age group in our community and get them involved. And if people like that are interested in getting involved, I'm all in. So I appreciate Commissioner Maddox, you putting that slate forward. It works for me. Thanks.
Any other comments? All right, so the motion's been made for option 1 through 3 as described by Commissioner Maddox. It's been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, Mr. County Attorney, that concludes our general business. Mr. County Attorney, any comments from you?
Mr. Chairman, nothing substantive. Congratulations on becoming our new chair. Commissioner Deloge, congratulations on becoming our new vice chair. And I don't even know the guy on the end of the dais down there. He's unrecognizable. Commissioner Minor, congratulations to you and welcome aboard. Vince and I have promised each other that we will make it fun for you. Not for these other guys, but for you. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Administrator.
Mr. Chairman, two quick things. First, the Florida Department of Environmental Management has requested that I make an announcement here tonight. They are having an upcoming meeting to seek public comment on DEP's draft Lake Jackson Aquatic Preserve Management Plan. That public meeting is taking place on December 5th at 6 p.m. To 7:30 p.m. at the Lake Jackson Community Center. This meeting will allow the public to ask questions and submit comments about the Lake Jackson Aquatic Management Preserve plan, and I'll also provide additional information to commissioners electronically about that. But they wanted me to make that announcement here tonight. And then ditto Herb, Commissioner Minor, on behalf of all the Leon County employees, welcome. Returning commissioners, welcome, congratulations, and Mr. Chairman and Mr. Vice Chairman, congrats, and we're looking forward to the year ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator. My role model, and hopefully I will fill the chair of the former chair of the Leon County Commission. We'll start with you.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Maddox.
I appreciate that. Just a couple of things. First of all, thank you so much, Board, for enduring the year. Me being chair, I know it was a rough one again, but we got through it together, and I think our community came out stronger because of it. A lot of the success we had last year through those storms is attributed to not only our board, but our staff. Our staff did a great job of doing the hard work when we were able to sit up here and make some decisions. So just wanted to put that out there. A couple of things that I would like for us to look at. First thing is, I feel like now I am an expert, at least at the position of being a member of the canvassing board. So any of you ever think about being on the canvassing board, forget it. It's my spot now. I've already talked to the supervisor of election. He's going to request that I be the member. So, but no, seriously. No, I enjoyed my time. It was a lot to do. It was a lot of detail to it. A lot of people came out. I am very proud again at the decorum that everyone showed here in Leon County. There was a lot of opportunity for some people to have some bad attitudes, and they did not. We had folks from both parties, all three campaigns there, and even at times they laughed about things that were going on in that room. So I'm very proud of what we did there, but more so, even more so than that, I'm very proud of the citizens who came out and the way they conducted themselves. But that leads me to requesting either, Mr. Administrator, you tell me what we need here, or even the board. I would like I got a first-hand look at the way things work and a deep dive on it. And I don't know, I know that the supervisor election has needs. I know one need in particular is a new voting machine, or one additional voting machine. Those voting machines, he told me, range from about $50,000 to $89,000. But I don't want to cut him short there. I'll tell you what, we do a good job of making sure he's financed, but I want us to continue to be the model. CNN, Fox News, all those news stations didn't have to come here, but they came here because we are the model of how it's supposed to be done in the state of Florida. So I don't know if the board would rather have the supervisor elections come and tell us about some of the needs he may have there, or if we would just want to put it on maybe a budget request item to see exactly what his needs may be. But I did want to have the conversation as a board about how we want to go about handling that, because what I want is, again, I want to continue to lead the state, and I do know he could use at least one more machine.
We'll hear from the administrator, Commissioner Deloge on point.
Well,
Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I mean, my feeling would be, let's have Mark come in and say, with that, hey, look, we want to give you a little bit of run room here because we think you did a good job and we'd like to continue to try and make sure we support you. But yeah, rather than us jumping the gun and saying, let's just go ahead and put something in place. I wouldn't know where to begin, really.
Right.
Mr. Administrator?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, obviously, it's the board's prerogative if you wish to hear from your constitutional officers on any issue. However, I should note that that would normally come through his budget process,
Right.
and with which we've had no discrepancies whatsoever, and we don't expect any. So we'll make sure that we...
So how about we meet in the middle? What if we had, I'm sorry, Commissioner, if we had him just come give a report of the midterm elections, and then he can work with you, Mr. Administrator, on his budget request coming back of what his needs may be. But I do want, I mean, there was so much valuable information I learned. I want the board to know about it as well. So I guess that would probably be the middle of the road there.
I support that, Mr. Chairman, if I might. You know, democracy is at a crossroad. And we had two races local that was sort of like flip a coin. I think one was a mandatory. John Daly squeaked out a 2% margin. We had two statewide races that were looked at nationally. Our neighboring state had question marks, and the whole ethical appropriateness of the candidate managing his own race and the candidate seeking the gubernatorial chair in Georgia deeming the votes which that candidate thought should be thrown out. Democracy and the perception of it is at a crossroad. And any time that we can seek to strike a balance or understanding, and one of the reasons why we're at this crossroad is the perception of whether or not votes count. The process with which Commissioner Maddox is saying that he experienced as a member of the canvassing board in the process. And when you look at the complicated nature of balloting, it's complicated. And citizens are drawn further and further away in their belief in the credibility and in the outcome of votes that all of them are being managed properly. And to the extent that we can tighten up and demonstrate to county voters of Leon a process that has integrity, one that whether you mail it in, whether you vote early at an early vote site, or whether you vote on the same day, or you're absentee, or whatever category of vote, that to the extent that we can prove and demonstrate to our community an excellence in the standard with which we regard voters and voting, it strengthens the body politic of a community. That's why I can support Commissioner Maddox, and he having represented us as our member on the canvassing board. It's no more than right that we hear from Supervisor Early, who was never late in bringing forth the tally of our particular county and region, and I can respect that. But given the controversy and that supervisor in Broward County quit, okay, and that the President of the United States and other voices and former governors were calling out the competency. Well, what is competent? What makes a supervisor competent? What was a good election? I don't know. It's 67 different models and standards. So next time, some of y'all gonna be on the ballot, maybe, and we need to take seriously the moment that we can. And our supervisor did, I think, an excellent job. Our canvassing board did excellent. But what is excellent compared to Broward? So let's please review it. I support it. I'm taking a long time to say that. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Commissioner Dozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree that our Supervisor of Elections Office did an exceptional job. Commissioner Maddox, thank you so much for representing us well as part of the canvassing board. And I agree with your comments about hearing from the supervisor. And in my mind, I do think we've had a good budgetary process with our constitutionals. I don't necessarily want to get ahead of that. I have no doubt that needs like a new facility, which we worked on in recent years for the supervisor's office, those items will come up through that budget process, and the supervisor is always able to tell us those things in person during that process or whatever. So I feel pretty comfortable with the budget process as is. However, having a presentation from the supervisor, say in January, or just, I mean, your comments before about the December meeting, I think would be valuable. And I also heard some comments from Supervisor Early that he's going to have some suggestions going into legislative session about how other counties could follow our rules. That, to me, is more critical right now. I think the budget process will work out. We've got time before 2020 to satisfy those concerns that I agree with, or we need to hear about. But for right now, I wouldn't mind hearing a report about how this election went, his thoughts about the recount, other counties, and if we can support him in our legislative priorities and what he wants to do going forward into session, I think that's the critical piece for me. So just my thoughts. I'd like to support that piece and let the budget move forward as it should.
That'll work.
Thank you. Commissioner Lindley is in queue to speak.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'd be interested in hearing from Mr. Early as well. I hope that, I know this is kind of counterintuitive to our general home rule mantra, but I hope that the Florida Association of Counties will begin addressing some more uniformity, because it is, I mean, I'm proud of Leon County. We have been looking good and leading the way for a long time. But it is really hard to explain to out-of-town relatives who say, what the heck is going on in Florida, and why do you have so many, I don't know if there are 67 distinct approaches, but I hope that the Florida Association of Counties will get behind this, and that we should make it part of our legislative priorities. And Nick, I didn't realize you were such a canvassing geek that you want this as your permanent assignment.
Yeah.
But I know you worked hard. I heard that you were pulling 10-hour days often. And we didn't have the controversies here that in some places, so I appreciate your hard work on that.
Thank you.
But yeah, I'm with you on having a presentation whenever Supervisor Early can kind of work it in for us, I think.
So, Mr. Administrator, we would, I think we would be jumping the gun to say we could do it in December, so kick it to you.
Sure. We'll just, we got you loud and clear. We'll just schedule it when it works for Mr. Early, and as soon as we can get it on the board's agenda.
Thank you. The other, I don't think that needs a motion, does it, hurt? Okay. All right, the other item will need a motion. So I have thought long and hard about our conversation at the IA meeting about the fairground. And the more I think about it, the more I think the timing may be right for us to look at starting to trying to fast track that project. But I think before we can have any conversation about fast tracking the money for the fairground, I think we have to have a conversation about if the fairground is going to stay exactly where it is now, what the options are there to move it, and what we can do there on that piece of land if we decide for it to stay. And so I'm looking for maybe a workshop just to discuss just the future of the fairground, what it looks like if we move it, what are the possibilities there, so we can get that, at least from our standpoint, have the discussion, make a decision, and then once we get to the IAA, have a bigger discussion about how maybe we can start moving up the fairground on the list of projects. Because here's the facts of it. You got what's happening on Orange Avenue happening, and it's coming rather quickly. The Orange Avenue apartments will be redeveloping. You have the blueprint project that's happening on Orange Avenue, and I think the fairground will fit right in there nicely with it. So I like for all that synergy to happen at the same time. So my motion would be that we have a workshop looking at the fairground, the future of it, possibilities of moving it, as well as what redevelopment of that piece of land will look like. That's my motion.
Commissioner Lindley, do we have a second for the motion? Commissioner Lindley. Oh, okay. All right. Sorry.
All right.
Thanks for the help. Okay, so the motion's been made and it's been seconded to have a workshop regarding the fairgrounds and the future of it. Yeah, we did have a second from Commissioner Proctor. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We'll do a tutorial right afterwards. So the motion has been made and it's been seconded. All those in favor of a workshop in the future to discuss the current state of the fairground as well as the future of it, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Good luck, Mr. Chair, in your new position. Mr. Administrator, I appreciate you, again, the staff and the work you guys did over the past year. Board, I appreciate your support over the past year. Looking forward to a new year, and some new things happening. Welcome, Commissioner Miter. We're expecting great things from you in District 3. You have all of our support in any way you need us to help, anything that you need there. And everybody, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Okay, continuing commissioner comments. Commissioner Dozier.
Mr. Chair, keeping me on my toes today, right? I know this is going to sound repetitive in a few minutes, but I think we do have an incredible team up here. Commissioner Minor, wonderful addition to our group, and we look forward to working with you. But most importantly, I'm just proud to keep working with everyone in the county family and helping serve this great community we're in. And Commissioner Maddox, you noted in your comments before just how difficult this year was. And you, like the chairman before you in the last 2 years, really took a lead during the hurricane response. I know I said this last time, but the number of emails we got this time versus Hermine tells me that we've done our job right in between the meetings. All of us have, so that we don't get as many emails and our great team is just executing and our partners are executing. And I see that in a lot of different ways, whether it's elections, the hurricane response, to any other issue that comes up. So proud to be a part of this, and I look forward to what we've got coming next. It's fun having Commissioner, now Mayor Daley, over here for a few minutes, and going to the City Commission. I know a lot of us were there last night. I truly hope that we have mayor chair meetings, that we have a renewed working relationship with the city. We've always partnered on a lot, but I'm really excited about the opportunities we've got. We know that any one new voice on this dais can kind of shake things up a little bit in a good way. We keep moving forward, and a lot of new perspectives this time around I think is going to be good for us. So I'm really excited about that. And I was unable to attend the Veterans Day celebration this year, and just want to thank our staff for doing this and all of you who were there. It looked like a wonderful event, good commemoration as always. With that, I only have one request for today, and I can provide more detail on this if you all would like. This is a little time sensitive, but I have discussed it with the county administrator, so I'll just give you the nutshell now. I'd like to request an agenda item to come back in December that vets a program called SELF and a partnership with the Regional Planning Council. SELF, which is Solar and Energy Loan Fund, is a 501c3, a CDFI organization. They're certified by Department of Treasury. They are a complement to PACE. They provide low-interest, fixed-rate loans for low and moderate income people to improve their homes. This is everything from repairing your roof to other energy efficiency and other types of things. The critical need right now, they made a presentation to the Regional Planning Council Board last week, is that they're a group that can step in and help someone, and there are hundreds and hundreds of people right now in need who has roof damage from the hurricane and can't meet their deductible on insurance. Contractor vetting is already taking place. Tallahassee Builders Association, Florida Home Builders are stepping in. So this group was set up 7 years ago by a former St. Lucie County Commissioner. The Planning Council has done a lot of vetting. The request at this point is, and this is where I know that you all will need a lot more information, as I've gathered in the last 5-6 days, or this has been a crash course, is to talk to vet SELF and to bring us back an agenda item that looks at a partnership with the Regional Planning Council to provide seed money for a full-time employee that would work out of the Planning Council to administer these loans for the next 2 years. It would be a cost share. It would benefit our low and moderate income folks in Leon and in Tallahassee. Both our contractors would benefit, but it would also benefit across the region. So again, if you have any questions, that's it, but this is a substantial program, and I think we could turn it around, Mr. County Administrator, you said by December.
I'll second for discussion.
Thank you.
All right, second, motion's been made by Commissioner Dozier, seconded by Commissioner Maddox. I have Commissioner Maddox and Commissioner Lindley in queue to speak. Commissioner Minor, are you in queue?
Yes.
Okay. We'll go to you first, and then we'll come to. Okay. All right. Well, then we'll go with Commissioner Lindley. I'm sure that she's addressing the item.
Well, and my concern was if it's a grant, or is it a budget item that you just want to be prepared for us to discuss during our budget session? Or is this something that there's more urgency, and I don't understand exactly what the ask is
Yes, and that's
and when?
I have learned a tremendous amount about this program since last Thursday, so it is moving quite quickly. Contractors can be vetted within about 24 hours, and people in our area connected with the headquarters down south right now. However, 17 of the 23 donors into this loan fund that has been operating for 7 years are faith-based, and they have donors that have committed substantial money to Hurricane Michael relief right now. A loan officer helps get that money to people in need directly.
So how much are you?
Yes.
How much are you talking about?
And that's where I was going, Commissioner. I'm sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
The model that I have looked at right now is St. Pete provided $100,000 for each of 3 years. It was $300,000 total to have a loan officer. However, that is not the request. But that is what other communities, Hernando County has done this, and others. This would be cost share with ARPC for 2 years, and it could be $50,000 to $60,000 to establish this per year. If I did not mention this before, I would appreciate adding in that the county administrator discussed this with the city manager, because the city of Stewart, for example, you can use building department trust fund dollars to fund this, and this would benefit the city of Tallahassee as well.
So are you asking?
I'm asking for an agenda item.
So we can figure out what's going on with.
So you
the
all can
request.
see the information that we have seen. A substantial group of us, including commissioners from all 9 counties in the Planning Council, have endorsed this. But our partner counties, Gulf County has lost 50% of their tax base right now. There is no other county in our 9-county region that could help ARPC create this position. I know that this is a big ask that would help other counties, but I believe strongly that when you see the information I've seen, you're going to see it benefiting our residents for the long term as well. And other communities have vetted this and and worked in partnership with this nonprofit.
So, just a moment, Commissioner Proctor, I want to make sure I understand. So you're making a motion for them to come and present at the next, an agenda item at our next board meeting?
Yes,
Okay.
this is nothing final. We're all getting this very fast. It's just I wanted to provide you enough detail now because there is a budget request so that we can get a substantial agenda item and make a decision.
Okay. Commissioner Proctor?
Thank you. I think that in the line of the request that I'm asking is, would Gadsden County would we be amenable to them sharing in this framework?
Commissioner Holt, Brenda Holt was at the meeting and heard about this project as well. We were all, as I said, in the endorsement. All 9 counties would benefit from the full-time employee. A substantial portion of that would be in Leon County, I believe, because more contractors, subcontractors are here. And this does help in hurricane response. The need is right now. But this could help 5 years from now if someone needs to replace the roof as well.
Well, I think that it augments well. One of the things that we do, and we have a great, when the storm is coming, we gear up, we know what people are supposed to report, all of that, and we're going to take some sandwiches or some beds down there. But one of the things that is not included in our hurricane preparation is the post-hurricane recovery, This, to me, puts some infrastructure in place to facilitate recovery in those times and incidents where it's needed. And I think that our own FEMAologist, is that a word? We need a FEMAologist, somebody like that. We've got a request from Gadsden County for whatever help that we could do. I'm not sure I think that the county administrator is still looking at that and is going to bring a hardcore, some, 1, 2, 3, 4s, But this is consistent with, in my mind, preparing for the hurricane. Because if the hurricane actually hits, well, who's in charge following the hurricane? Is Matt still in charge? And we saw a great presentation at the county's breakfast, and they marched us straight through what happened, what we did, But what you're talking about is the next stage, and I think it's needed and warranted, so I support it. Yeah.
All right, so I think I understand it's an agenda, the motion is for an agenda item to bring it back, and at that time, self would be present, or, okay.
Yes, the principal itself, the gentleman who came up, forgive me.
It's okay.
Doug Crowder, I believe I have his last name right. He is the former commissioner who started this program 7 years ago. He is willing to travel here and have mentioned December 11th to him already. And Chris Rito from the Regional Planning Council would certainly be here as well. Our executive committee met on Monday, and they're firming up what money is available at ARPC. Yes.
Is there a second to the motion?
I second
Yes.
it. Mr. Chair, can I make a
And
comment?
you've got Commissioner Minor as well.
You're queue now?
After this motion.
Okay.
I think you answered some of my question. I believe in regionalism just as much as everybody else. I just wondered, with us considering contributing 50 to 60,000 along with the dues that we already pay, I believe we pay dues.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, to the APR, Appalachian Regional Planning Council. I'm wondering if there's, and I know you said you had the conversation, just proportionally, how much of that benefit will come to Leon County? And even if it was a small amount, is there anything that the other counties, the other 9 counties could contribute? I'm not asking to break the bank, but at the same time, I think, I would like to be able to look at our citizens and say, yes, we did the lion's share, but everybody contributed to something that's going to have a regional impact. But if they can't, I get it. I still think it's a good program, and I still think that if we have to take on the lion's share, then we have to take on the lion's share. But I feel like everybody should have some kind of skin in the game.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Last comment on this. I appreciate you all digging in a little deeper on this one tonight. I knew this was a big ask for this evening, but it is time sensitive. And Commissioner Maddox, your question I sat with Doug for 45 minutes after the presentation last Thursday, and one of the things that resonated with me was that, and he knew Leon's involvement with PACE front and back. We've led the state when it comes to PACE, and there was a lot of lofty goals with PACE in the beginning, but it doesn't work as well for low and moderate or low income folks. But the goals are still there. They're still part of our sustainability program and everything else. So what I see in St. Pete and some other places in the state is that if we were just going to think about this loan officer for Leon County, it would benefit our low and moderate income people and our energy efficiency and sustainability goals and our contractors and subcontractors. And it's a nonprofit. Because we're in a position to help the others, the ask, it can't happen right now,
Right.
but it's not off the table with marketing and with other things for other counties as we move forward.
Because you said it was 2 years, right?
This-
2 years.
Yeah, the ask for St. Pete was 3 years. We have told them, because of the reasons you are stating, other counties can't contribute other things. This is a tight budget. We're making it as tight as we possibly can.
Okay, Commissioner Proctor, and then we'll take it to a...
Chairman, I think we've heard interest, until it's written and placed in, that we know specifically this could go all over the place. So I'd like for us to bring this to a vote, in interest of the desire, personal, to get to the school board swearing in at 6.
Absolutely. Motion's been made, it's been seconded. All those in favor of bringing the agenda item back? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, thank you all for taking a moment on that longer than normal for comment time, but really appreciate it.
Our newest commissioner, Commissioner Minor. Not too long ago, I didn't sit in the same chair, but I sat exactly where you were.
Look where you are now. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say it's great to be here, and it's an honor to be working with all of you. As a citizen, I've watched this commission and the county staff, and I've been so impressed over the years with the dedication, the talent, the camaraderie, and I'm very excited to be joining this team. I just want to introduce really quickly my chief of staff, Jody Wolkoff. If you know Jody, she is outstanding. She's a former senior staff attorney to a Florida Supreme Court justice and was the campaign manager for my campaign and kept me sane. So she's terrific. We are very fortunate to have her working for Leon County, and I just want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. I think we are up to Commissioner Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, I want to thank staff tonight for the Lake Munson sewer project, our getting a little more traction and getting a little bit more knee-deep in efforts there. I appreciate the speed with which we're attempting to go on that project. Congratulations to you, Commissioner Minor. Welcome here. Mr. Chairman, congratulations, and looking forward to working with you, and Mr. Vice Chairman. Looking forward to being and working with all of you this year. I have several things. On Orange Avenue and Meridian, I just want to file a complaint, and I'm not sure who's in charge of the complaint division of the county, but Orange Avenue and Meridian needs attention. The activity, the loitering, lingering, consistent, it needs to be checked. And I'm asking whoever's in charge of the complaint division, I need something different activity to occur on that corner. It is the most trashiest looking corner. It has become of a degraded nature, and I need some help.
County Administrator would like to lean in while you're, just to interrupt for a moment.
Commissioner Proctor, I wasn't trying to interrupt you. I was trying to get in the queue after you, just to say it is well on our radar screen, sir. Just to let you know that I've asked, several months back, and Blueprint staff has been working on bringing a proposal to us. Not something you would have known, but we've actually conducted meetings even in the community, to get community feedback. But it is a future, as you know, it's a future part of a blueprint project. It is the Orange Avenue Gateway project, and is the land for that future project. That is actually the #1 ranked project in terms of the community. I forget the name of the project category, but the enhancement projects. And so an item will be coming back to you, not for the project, Commissioner Proctor, because it's a few years out yet potentially, but for just a better interim use for the project as well. So they're scratching their heads on that now, and there'll be a proposal coming back to you soon, because we understand that we can't just wait for the project to come along, that we've got to do something better with that block.
And I appreciate that. That piece of dirt, its activities, the life force that's aggregating there on a daily, the activities, I'm begging all of you all to go down there. Something corrective needs to occur now. I can't predict where people get killed. I'm just not I'm not prophetic like that. But when people continue to gather, there's no bathroom. I can't imagine what it smells like. I don't know. But you can drive by and see how trashy it is. It's owned by the County of Leon, that piece of dirt. And I'm asking for the County of Leon to, we need a cease and desist order. I don't know if we need a fence up, but I've received calls, I'm passing by. It's happening quicker, faster, exponentially, is the rate of degradation occurring on a daily. Something needs to occur. It's festering. I don't know where people will get killed, but if I had to roll the dice, it likely would be on my radar. Okay? Please handle that. On December the 4th, I'll be hosting a Jay Gaither community meeting. Already, I know that on that bike path there, the neighbors are complaining we have break-ins. I'm asking if staff could please show up on December the 4th to hear the concerns. And I know that blueprint money may be involved in the ask for a fence to keep riffraff that's walking the bike path, no, not walking, loitering on the bike path, standing around, breaking in people's houses. We need to address, and I've talked to city officials and asked for the police to be there, asking the deputies to be there, and I'm asking for our staff to be there to hear. Jay Gaither Park is, it is the leading, historic leading black community in all of Leon County. Jay Gaither Park has heralded some of the most noted names, high contributors. I wouldn't even dare to call a roll, but it's a place and space that we cannot allow for the inertia of doing nothing to take precedence, and that it becomes crime infested. So on December 4th, I'm inviting commissioners at large to hear. Jay Gaither Park will be at Bethel AME Church in the Fellowship Hall from 6 to 8. Yes, the community will too. Yeah. I saw something impressive yesterday, and you know, my list for Christmas is not all that extensive, you know. Rick, I don't want all that much, but I was over some more people's house yesterday, and I was down at John Daly's new house, and I told my county administrator that there was a certain thing on the front of their dais that I just surely liked, and I just hope, you know, that, you know, maybe the New Year Santa could, you know, do something and have us shiny and bright like that. Vince, if there's anything that, we don't ask for much around here, but, ooh, that's a good look there, and I hope that we can imitate that and make it even better here. Commissioners, we saw Commissioner Andrew Gillum soar to new heights, captured the imagination of the nation. I want to give a salute and a shout out to one of our colleagues in this community, who ran nobly, who made a new name for himself, who represented well his instructor, Bill Proctor, in that which other instructors have attempted to share with him as a political science student at FAMU. And Gillum shined, and I wish Godspeed to him and his family in future endeavors. And I hope that they will be public endeavors. Commissioners, I wanted to note that item 11 was pulled. I didn't understand why it was pulled, but I am asking staff for an update on what's occurring with Mr. Kearney and his efforts to get some permits going with regard to these small houses and what we're doing out in Commissioner Jackson's district. If, in fact, Kearney permits were approved, then, in my opinion, they ought to be grandfathered in. And if the vacillating opinions after he's received a permit and folk are coming back representing the county of Leon and change their mind because new people are there, unless the state of Florida has enacted a new standard legislatively, but we cannot have rules that radiate back in time to penalize, to stop a project that we've approved. So when is approval approved? I'd like staff to please allow for the commission to hear what is the status of the permitting situation and why can't this man get going and trying to serve poor people and putting up so much of his own money. Ain't nobody in our community put no money up. That area is red line. Ain't no private money. And when a citizen is willing to put that much into the game for an area and a people, constituent base that nobody else is going to serve, I don't care what they say. Chamber of Commerce, the big banks, ain't nobody studying those folk. Mr. Kearney putting his money on the line. We need to help make his money and keep his money good, that we can realize the dreams of helping everybody get a house in Tallahassee. I think I've about run the table here, Mr. Chairman. I think that finally, commissioners, you know that I have, before I go there, we have a state legislative conference next week in Tampa. I intend to go there, Commissioner Maddox, and I'm wondering if there are any issues that we ought assert for state county association to lift, that we need to collaborate with. There are issues that we have as a 1, 2, 3 that we can, work with them. And if we do have that list, I'd like to know what we're fighting for and what we need them to help us to fight for. And I know you're going. I intend to go. And I don't know if anybody else is going. Commissioners, I'm going to miss this year's retreat with you. I have nothing whatsoever but love for each one of you. But I know that there are other sites besides a slave plantation that the Board of Leon County's Commission can meet on. I can't meet there. I do not want to offend those persons who have been slaves there by my participating on a dirt that suggests that I desecrate the status of their citizenship. And certainly it offends me that we can't find another site with which to hold the community's conversation and future projections for our next year. I recognize your capability. You have great minds, and I'll be with you on the Tuesday following. And I'm just asking you all to please understand, this is not personal to any of you, but it's my respect for the people who are dead, who look very much like me. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. Next, Commissioner Lindley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations, and congratulations to you, Rick. I know that you, at some time in your past, held aspirations of being on the City Commission, I believe. I'm so glad you saw the light and came on over to our team. We're welcome you. Also, Commissioner Maddox, thank you so much for a great year. I learned a lot from you, and I saw you really grow in your diplomatic abilities, too, to handle a lot of really contentious meetings. And also, we had a wonderful Vets Day celebration. We were serving gravy and biscuits and all kinds of great food, and from you, I also learned that there's a right way to serve gravy on biscuits, and there's a wrong way. And you all can just discuss this among yourselves, whether you put the gravy on the side of the biscuit or right smack dab on the front top of it. So that was like, on a vaguely serious note, I saw that the voters of Florida, the voters of Leon County had passed the Charter Commission's recommendation that we put our code of ethics in our charter. And I wondered if that is coming back as an agenda item at some point pretty quick, or how we respond to that?
Based on Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, yes, it will, because it requires that it be placed by ordinance, so it will come with the appropriate public hearing requirements for the passage of an ordinance. It'll be coming to you soon.
Okay. That was actually the main thing I have, and I was also glad to see, following the worry we had about Amendment 1 passing, I really appreciated the Florida Association of Counties, your effort, everybody's effort, that the voters of the state of Florida didn't go ahead and adopt that, and we will be, I think, breathing a sigh of relief in several ways. I know Alan Rosenzweig will be already. So it was a great election season in a lot of ways with those amendments. I was rather surprised by that. Just thank you for a good meeting. It was a fun one today, and on with our retreat then. Thank you.
Sure, go ahead. Your light isn't on, but I'm going to go ahead and recognize you.
Thank you, sir. I'll be brief because when Commissioner Lindley brought up the Amendment 1, I think that is a big testament to local government. I mean, you know, our citizens had an opportunity to give themselves a tax break, and what they thought was that we do such a good job of being stewards with their dollars, the county administrative boards and their staffs, that they said you go ahead and keep the extra $25,000 because our local government does the right thing with it. And so I wanted to put on record too. Thank you from Florida Association of Counties, from all the commissioners across the state, staffs across the state, and Leon County citizens voted against it too, or it didn't pass. So that says a lot about the job we're doing as local government. So I just want to put that on record. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Last but not least, Commissioner Deloge.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and welcome to the leadership. We look forward to your year ahead. Commissioner Maddox, great year. I thought the hurricane was the crowning moment, and then you got the canvassing board. So you had a big year, and as was pointed out earlier, you had a couple rough patches, and I applaud you for handling them very well, very, very statesmanlike. It was well done. Rick, welcome to the zoo. I agree with Commissioner Lindley's comment. This is a much better board over here. And to Commissioner Maddox, Commissioner Dozier, and Commissioner Proctor, who left, congrats on your reelection. And thank you all for your confidence in me. And I'm glad you pointed that out. I mean, I think Ian Sancho, who I may have had some personal issues with, was an unbelievable steward for us. And I think Mark Early has followed that and is doing a great job, and I think we should be proud. So I'm fine with making sure we accommodate him and continue to support him to the best of our ability. So thanks. Good meeting, Mr. Chair and Mr. Past Chair. Look forward to your head. Thanks.
All right, I'll be hanging around for about an hour of tutoring on the lights here. Yeah, but thank you so much for the vote of confidence as well. And I look forward to not only serving with some people that I really enjoy and people that care about people. And I think at the end of the day, normally every meeting that I leave with at least one moment where people were put first. And that's important not only in the regular line of duty I'm in, but it's important in the line of duty I do to represent the folks here in Leon County. So I appreciate that a lot from each of you as a board member, and I've learned so much in the short time I've been here. And I, too, look forward to a incredible new opportunity with our commission right across the street, and that distance has grown shorter, I believe, with the election of a new mayor and 2 new commissioners, and the time is right for us to take on some brand-new challenges and refine some that we need to do better. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you, as well as all of our staff. I can't say enough about the work of Public Works and the collection of the debris. In fact, I had to stop and wait 10 minutes for flagmen today on the way to the meeting while they were collecting trash in our neighborhood. So, Brent, I know that's been a big part of you guys' job, and pass it on, and we appreciate it so much. With that said, do I have a motion to adjourn?